Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here, weatherweb.net, and it is Monday the 10th of February. Thanks for watching. This is your look ahead video, taking you through the next few days, and as you know, those who watch regularly, we have a ramble through conditions, take a look at the charts, and try and get to grips with the weather story and pick up on the major features. Now, we're just running through the charts for the next few days. Flooding again is going to be the talk of the town, particularly now, of course, it's hit southern and southeastern parts of England. This is the chart for tomorrow. You see that front moving its way eastwards during the course of tomorrow. This feature here that's moving through tomorrow morning into the early part tomorrow afternoon, bringing some significant totals of rainfall, probably going to be 10 millimetres or so across parts of southern and central parts of England overnight tonight and into Tuesday. That clears eastwards, though. We should find some better weather then following in. Wednesday looks like that starts off okay, but then more rain following in from that low pressure area you can see across Ireland. Thursday, a better day, probably brighter as well, and then the fun and games start, because basically it's a case of which model do you believe. Now, that's the forecast for Friday midday, as of midnight last night. This is what the model wanted to do. It wanted to bring in low pressure, push rain northwards through the southern half of the country, heavy periods of rain, which of course was causing great concern in terms of the flooding. Then on Saturday, it wanted to put low pressure back into the North Sea, bring very strong winds through Scotland, northern England, Wales and the Midlands and East Anglia, and perhaps parts of the southeast as well, gusts of sort of 40 to 50 miles per hour even inland, and make Saturday a very unsettled day. Sunday was forecast to be a quieter day, some showers across the far north, but brighter to the south. Now, you'll notice that I was saying there about was at previous model runs, etc. Well, let me just show you what's been going on. This was the forecast that we had this morning. This was based on the GFS at midnight last night, and this chart from weatheronline.co.uk. So this is what we were using. This was Saturday. All looked okay. Well, didn't look okay, but was fairly straightforward as far as the forecast was concerned, because we said that, well, we got low pressure in there, deep area of low pressure. Look, rain surrounding the low as well in here, and some pretty strong gales as well. You see the isobars all bunched together there, indicating very strong winds. Then, at the 6 o'clock run of the GFS model, that happened. That is exactly the same chart as that. And you can see the difference is just dramatic. The area of low pressure on the latest run for midnight Saturday has stayed away to the south, whereas last night it was deep, it was centred across Wales, and we were all going to get a very, very rough day. Now, the 6 o'clock run of the GFS and the 1800 run of the GFS, notorious actually for throwing wobblies. So at the moment, we're still kind of leaning more into this idea that this is how Saturday turns out. But we've got to watch very carefully, see what's on the midday run, which will be out about 6 o'clock this evening, to see what it does with this low. Because if that was correct, then actually that would mean Saturday wouldn't be a bad day across most of the country. This is how other models handled it. This is from weatherweb.net. It's the Canadian model. And you can see there that the Canadians went for a very similar story, actually, based on their midnight days from last night. Low pressure centred in there, southern parts of Wales, heavy rain, strong winds surrounding the area of low pressure, a very, very unsettled day. ECMWF looked like this. It went more with the idea actually that then turned up from the 6 o'clock run, so it then went more with this idea. If you look at those two, they're quite similar. Although the ECMWF did have the low across the country, it still went for a much more benign feature than the GFS and the Canadian. So there was disagreement between the two, and this isn't unusual, particularly when we're in these fast-moving situations. And just incidentally, while we're looking at this chart, just look out here. You might just notice there, look, the ridge there, building in across the Atlantic. Now, I'm not saying that's the ridge that's going to bring dry weather, but it is the start of the system out here that may well start to make things less wet as we head towards the 18th, 19th period. ECMWF GFS heights looking like this for the next 7 to 10 days. Got a westerly flow on the jet stream on both of these coming across the Atlantic there. and also there. You notice that the ECMWF, which is this one here, wanted to make much more of, oh dear, sorry, and I'll get this right eventually, wanted to make much more of the jet stream. Is it going to let me do this? Yeah, there we go. This was the ECMWF. Wanted to make much more of the jet stream here in the Atlantic look than the GFS ensemble. That wanted to make things much lighter in the Atlantic. But the two actually still very similar, and still going on this idea of an unsettled flow. And this is from next Monday through to Thursday the 20th. So this is starting to get into the period where I said that things may improve. But there are signs. Look, that ridge there in the Atlantic certainly is starting to hint at signs that things could ease off a little bit. And you notice as well that these colours aren't quite as deep blue and they're not quite as deep red as they were. So there is this hint that things do potentially show some signs of easing up a little bit, and perhaps bringing an improvement to conditions. Now, of course, you believe it at your peril. It's one that we've been watching very carefully. Of course, it's only 9-10 days away now before we should start to see some sort of change coming to the south. So we shall continue to monitor it for you. But for now, thanks for watching, and whatever you're doing, keep the sun shining. Bye for now.